I am James Yoder. This is the Michigan Football Report. On today's show, we caught up with our guy, maybe my best friend. This isn't the first time. It's probably the fifth or sixth time Charles Woodson has interacted with us here on the Michigan Football Report, met him in person, etc. He, as part of Fox's coverage of Super Bowl 59 in New Orleans, we were down there last week. We talked to him and pulled him aside. He wanted to talk some Michigan football, so he is going to join the show in a few minutes. You're going to want to watch that. But first, 2026 recruiting is heating up, and I wanted to hit on this topic here on a Saturday because Michigan is going for back-to-back number one recruits in the country, Bryce Underwood, and then Jackson Cantwell, offensive lineman, future left tackle, hell, maybe right tackle, but an absolute beast of a man-child of a young man. 2026 out of Nixa, Missouri. And his NIL seems to be the reason that Michigan is making this push. Number one player this year. Can they go back-to-back with him? He announced his finalists about 10 days ago. It's Georgia. It's Michigan. It's Miami. It is Missouri, Ohio State, and Oregon in no particular order. I think that's just alphabetical order. But what, those schools, obviously Ohio State, Oregon, Miami, Georgia, those are schools that play in the NIL game, big-time recruiting head coaches, etc. But why Missouri? Well, hometown team. But his dad is an elite athlete. If you think about if your dad is an elite athlete at where he was, a shot putter, a All-American shot putter at Missouri in the early 2000s, like 98 to 2002, 2003. And then 4 or 5 years out of college, he goes to the 2008 Olympics, which I think was in China, right? That was the China Olympics. And he wins the silver medal in the shot put. So if you think about it, you look at Christian Cantwell. Look up a photo of him. We should have pulled in, but just one of these big old boys taking that shot put. And of course, his son, gifted with that same size, and has turned his talents to offensive line. I think it's a little more of a fruitful career than shot put is, but nevertheless. Now, there is also talks that Barstool Sports has engaged with him. They've got the word down from Michigan's, Sean McGee, their head of general manager, head of NIL, etc., that this is the number one recruit. Michigan's just going to get the number one recruit every year going forward is what it seems like the plan is as of right now. So is it a legit NIL deal where Cantwell will do exclusive content with Barstool, maybe go on their podcast, maybe, go live with them on YouTube or their Instagram account after games, at halftime games, during games, not talk to other media? Maybe. Or is it just a Portnoy's going to take company funds and the guy's going to, retweet Barstool and wear Barstool merch elsewhere for $500,000? We will see. But I think it's a good sign that if Michigan's going to play in this NIL game, if you're going to play with pigs, you're gonna get dirty, right? So if you're gonna choose to play with the pigs and you're gonna get dirty, get as damn filthy as you possibly can. Don't dip your toes in the NIL water. Don't hold your nose higher like it stinks down there for everybody else. So I like the approach that seemed to change about 6 months ago, which led to Michigan getting Bryce Underwood. That seems okay. Boom, let's go to 2026, right? It got us Andrew Babalola. It got Michigan Ty Haywood. Going to be the anchors of an offensive line that's going to win Michigan another national championship. And if you think it was something other than NIL, I think I've got some land. I've got some beautiful, non-smelly, non-dirty land to sell you in the rural part of New Orleans, if you believe that. Beachfront property in Oklahoma. There you go. So we'll see what happens. And Michigan is right in the thick of things. And again, I don't think it's crazy to think that this is a player, number one player in the country, if he gets the right package, the right offer from Michigan. They've got the financial backing. They've got Portnoy putting his play in there with Barstool. They've got us, just throwing cash around. And, of course, the third richest man in the world, Larry Ellison, his new wife, who graduated Michigan in 2012, 2013, if you guys saw that article a couple months ago, kind of outing Jolyn. And she's liked watching Michigan win the national title. Babe, hey, we've got $300 billion. Sell 1% of it. That's $3 billion. You chop that up. That's $100 million a year to send a Michigan football for 30 years. You cut it in half. $50 million to spend for 60 years. It's insane, and he's not even putting that much into it. But I do think Ellison has given the word that he's going to put $20 to $30 million in Michigan's coffers to get the players they need in football and basketball going forward. So if I had to put my money on it right now, I'd say Michigan gets the number one player back-to-back years, and that is Jackson Cantwell out of Missouri. former shot put silver medalist, and he will be the back-to-back #1 player in the country headed to Michigan. Be part of what could be one of the most epic offensive linemen in about 2 or 3 years college football's ever seen if you pair him with Babalola, Ty Haywood, and some others. Let's look forward to the schedule really quick. We talked about this a little bit on our show. We're going to talk a little bit on tomorrow's show, I think it is. But we'll talk about the schedule because I don't know if people are really looking at the schedule and kind of understanding that Michigan's got a nice schedule set up next year, right? You got New Mexico. That's a winnable game. At Oklahoma. This is not Oklahoma 5 years ago. This is not Oklahoma from 15 years ago. This is a beatable Oklahoma team, right? They had a transfer quarterback coming from somewhere, but their coach is on the hot seat coming in this year. Michigan can win this game. I'll be at this game for sure. Jack, maybe we can go together, Jack, if I'm still the host. Central Michigan at Nebraska. So it is tough. You've got two of the most iconic venues in college football, Oklahoma and Nebraska. You've got to go to before September 21st, right? Before the 21st day of September, you've got two pretty tough road games. You win those games, right? Michigan's more talented than both those teams. You go to a bye week, and then a stretch of name teams, but Wisconsin, that's winnable. At USC, that's winnable. Home versus Washington, I think winnable. At Michigan State, 49-0. Purdue, that team was a disaster last year. You got another bye week. You head out to Northwestern, and you play that team at Wrigley Field. Maryland, certainly winnable. And then you can't even comprehend losing to Ohio State. Beat Ohio State again. So this team is clearly nowhere in the galaxy of the talent of 2023 or the experience of 2023, the talent and experience in 2022 where they went undefeated back-to-back years, back-to-back regular seasons, 13-0 starts. But you are lying to yourself if you don't think that this is a team, if just the right things click and they get above average play from the guys they're expecting to kind of step in and fill some gaps on the D-line, the quarterback position, running back position, transfers at wide receiver, and elsewhere, that this team shouldn't at least win 10 games. And a fumble here, an interception there, a whistle there, 11 wins, maybe even 12 wins. So you saw the schedule there. Predict Michigan's 2025 regular season record. Jack, you got a quick prediction for me yet? You got one?
I'm going to go, I'm going to say 11-1, leave the door open for a potential loss. But I feel good about this schedule. I feel good about this team. So
I'm going to go 11-1 as well. Usually my MO just go 12-0. I'm going to go 11-1 next year. That's my early prediction. I'll change it after spring ball, but mine is 11-1. Jack's 11-1. Make sure you guys go down, comment below. Let us know what your record prediction in those 12 games only that we just showed you. Right down there, hit the subscribe button as well. Next up, Charles Woodson, my best friend, my boyhood idol, coming on the Michigan Football Report. He's going to talk Ohio State. He's going to talk Will Johnson. He is going to talk winning national championships and more. But I do want to tell you guys one other thing I'm excited about, and that's that Factor is back as a sponsor of the Michigan Football Report. Are you ready to optimize your nutrition this year? Well, Factor has chef-made gourmet meals that make eating well easy. They are dietitian approved and ready to heat and eat in 2 minutes so you can fuel right and feel great no matter what life throws at you. It arrives fresh. It comes in a box with dry ice. You take it out, you put it in the fridge. You have got fresh meals for the week that you just put in the microwave. Like I just said, 40 options across 8 dietary preferences on the menu each week. It's easy to pick meals tailored to your goals because you can choose from preferences like Calorie Smart, Protein Plus, or Keto. Factor can help you feeling your best all day long. Also with wholesome smoothies, breakfast, grab-and-go snacks, and more add-ons. Reach your goals this year with ingredients you can trust and convenience that can't be beat. I love Factor. Jack loves Factor. If you are a single guy out there that don't have a lady cooking for you, get some Factor. And it is awesome. Get 50% off your first box. factormeals.com/MichiganChat50 off. That's factormeals.com/MichiganChat50 off. Use code MichiganChat50 off. It is down in the comments. It is down in the description, second paragraph of the description. Click that link, copy that promo code, 50% off your first box and free shipping. Get factormeals.com. I love them. Jack loves them. You will love them. Amazing food, healthy food, great food. Charles Woodson joined us in New Orleans as part of the Fox Sports Media Day at Super Bowl 59. And it was fun. We talked about a bunch of things, but really zoned in and talked some things on Michigan football, the past, the present, the future. beating Ohio State again. What's tougher, beating Ohio State 3 years in a row, 4 years in a row, winning a national title? Here is my boyhood idol, Charles Woodson.
First of all, it feels good beating the Buckeyes anytime you beat them. You know what I mean? That's it's the one game that every year it's the biggest circle on our schedule. We take pride in playing that game and being successful in that game. It's always the measuring stick really for both teams. Playing that game. The other teams in the conference, of course, there'll be big games. Teams will be good along the way, but it's always a measuring stick against that team. That's the one we're always looking to. And then as far as Sherrone Moore, I think he did a great job of just keeping the team together and then finishing on a strong note. I mean, we played the season, man. It was hard for us to move the football. We went through kind of a carousel of quarterbacks trying to figure out who was going to be a guy that can win games for us, and it became tough. We dealt with some injuries. Will Johnson was out for a while. Colston Loveland was out, against Ohio State, so we dealt with some injuries. We lost a ton of guys from our championship team, and so it was always gonna be a tough hill to climb. And I think Sherrone did a good job, especially ending our season on a good note. Win against Ohio State, win against Alabama. Got the number one quarterback in the country. Did well in the transfer portal, getting some guys out of the portal, and then having a good recruiting class. So I think he's done a good job and set himself up for a successful second season as the head coach.
Charles, when you look at Will Johnson coming out, where do you think he stacks up in terms of development, in terms of where you were when you were coming out of Michigan? Will Johnson.
Will, yeah. Will, man, is a phenomenal player, man. Size, to me, we were just talking about Travis Hunter and Travis' size, length. Will has that same thing. Will reminds me a lot of Patrick Surtain, just the way their build is, height, length, the whole nine, the way they move. And I think at the next level, I think he's going to do very well. I think he showed you in college that he has the skills. He can go out, he can play on the island. I think he can follow the best receiver around if you need him to do. But I think he's another guy. As a young player, if he benefited from, man, if he was get to a team like the Eagles, like you got Quinyon Mitchell play with this great defense, then you could have a team that could be in the same position. So I see him on the next level, man, having a great deal of success, and can't wait to see him on the next level.
In your mind, what's harder, winning a national championship or beating that team 4 years running, that national championship team?
Hey, man.
I'm just two hypothetical teams.
I got you. So I guess you're talking about maize and blue team and a scarlet and gray. Yeah,
I'm just asking for a friend.
Look, it's always harder to win it all. And what our guys were able to do, go 15-0 the way that they did last year. Of course, beating our rival is just that's icing on the cake for us. But going through Alabama and then having to beat Washington in the playoff game, to go through that entire gauntlet throughout the season, man, it's tough. Because you gotta put your best on every week. You gotta outlast opponents every week, and the guys went out there and did it. And they were on a mission. Much like the Ohio State this team this year, where they had guys who said, we're going to come back. We don't like the taste in our mouth at the previous season. They did the same thing. Our guys did that last year. So, just going forward, just to any other team, you're going to have a group of players that say, we're going to forego leaving, and we're going to come back, and we're going to try to finish something. So, it's harder to win the big thing.